which means that they were not properly prepared for the exit exam.
Yeah.
They go in there, and unfortunately, you have a youth organizer of a political party, of a governing party, going into schools and giving all kinds of promises. Students being told that they'll be given, exam questions. And the day comes, they go there, and the questions are not there. But is that the kind of education we want to give to our children? That Ghana, a very reputable country with reputable quality of education, today students are relying on leaked questions. Our reputation, our academic reputation has gone down. When John Mahama was in government as president, and our current running mate as Minister for Education, for 3 consecutive years, Ghana was top of WAEC exam, WASI.
Yes.
And BECE were top. That is what where we need to be again. That we're telling Ghanaians, and you hear them saying that, oh, Akufo-Addo, parents are not paying. I'm saying that the future of your child no amount of money can be equated to the future of your child. If your child's education is messed up, that is their future messed up. In any case, how much were parents paying then? It was 1,200. Most of the fees were already out of the window. So you had sports fee was abolished. You had science laboratory fees were abolished, and most all the fees were abolished. Today, you send your child because they are brought into this school system in such a way that if you may be in Accra and your child gets admission in my hometown, Navrongo Secondary School, and they are day students, you have to go and rent a place for them. Parents who do not want their kids to go and be working like that parent who could not afford and had the child to go, they have to pay for extra tuition, extra classes. And the subject is costing about 80 Ghana. If you are paying for 6 subjects, that's already 600 a month. In 3 months, when that child is at home, you have already paid 1,800. So do the cost and compare and see. You have already lost that by 600 because they were paying 200. And then also, not just that, the money part, your child's education is being compromised. The quality is being compromised. Yes. And so I'm saying that there is new hope. John Mahama has shown the way in the People's Manifesto how this thing will be eliminated. More schools will be built. They've said that in districts where there are no secondary schools will be provided. In regions and other areas where there's the need, deprived areas where there's the need to even build 2 or more, such will be done, because he's done it before and he will do it again. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. Alhaji Alhassan, there are some 2 issues that Simon raised in his presentation that I would want you to throw a bit more light on, which has to do with the abolition of the double track system,
yeah.
Which I know, and all of us here in the studio and the majority of Ghanaians know that has brought a lot of problems in terms of how the free SHS has been implemented. Can you throw a bit more light on that and let us, and in reference to the People's Manifesto, how that is going to be eradicated? Now, how the NDC in government is going to implement that. And then number 2, if you can also throw a bit more light on, for instance, okay, let me just give this example. There is a proprietor of a private school that I know. A couple of weeks ago, he was saying to me that, look, the government's implementation of the free SHS, even though good, has affected a lot of the private schools, private SHS institutions, and that government must find a way of absorbing them, because what has happened now is that a lot of their students have moved on into the public and government assisted secondary SHS institutions. So how do you think the NDC in government is going to be dealing with it in view of what the People's Manifesto is putting out there for Ghanaians to accept?
Okay, thank you, Mike. Thank you. I'll start with the double track. Where we are having double track has to do with lack of enough or adequate educational infrastructure. And as you rightly pointed out, the idea of a progressive free education in Ghana, MPP cannot claim ownership of that policy. It predates the days of Chairman Rawlings. This JSS concept or SS concept was piloted in the early 80s. I'm a product of that one. When those days there used to be one model JSS in every region or every district, and best students from all the primary schools were selected to go and write entrance exam to gain admission into that JSS. And you spend 3 years, write your leaving basic school what and what exams. And if we are successful, you don't need to write common entrance. You go to Form 3, Form 4, Form 2 in secondary school. And then use 2 or 3 years to write your O-level before going on to do your A-level. I'm a product of that one. And this was started by Chairman Rawlings. And because of that background, when the 92 Constitution was going to be drafted, he thought it wise to make it a constitutional provision. I think it's Article 25, that we should progressively introduce free, universal, basic what? Education.
Yes.
Compulsory.
Yes.
The free education is basic level is supposed to be compulsory.
Yes.
So if you don't have educational infrastructure at every corner of the country, how can you penalize parents for not taking their wards to school? And that was why we said it should be progressively what? Implemented.
Yeah.
Across the board. And then all of a sudden, President Akufo-Addo saw it as an opportunity, and he made it a big issue, a flagship program, a utopian kind of thinking, without considering whether we have adequate educational infrastructure to implement it. And Ghanaians bought into it. And even at that point in 2016, as a party, we were not saying no to it. All we were saying, we need to be cautious how we are running it. He ignored the advice and then went ahead and rolled it over, and only to realize that we don't have enough infrastructure to accommodate, hence the double track. I can tell you, Mike, without the E-blocks that is scattered all over the country, we would have been having triple track, not double track. Since
Absolutely.
President Akufo-Addo took over, he has not even constructed one day school. Now let's come back to our approach. We are not against boarding education, no, but I think we are moving towards a system which is common in the advanced countries. We live here and we all know, we are parents. How many public schools are boarding in this country? I work in social work. The only time you can see a child going into a public school is when the child has got profound health and emotional problems, and he or she cannot thrive in a mainstream school. And even with that, they are selected. We have what we call tripartite funding. It will be health, education, and social services, pushing their resources together to take the child into a boarding school. All private boarding schools in this boarding schools are private. If you think you can pay, you pay for your ward. So President John Mahama approach was to create these day schools across the country, so that children don't necessarily need to go to boarding school. They can travel to school during the day and return to their parents after school. And then Nana came and abandoned all these projects. And that's why we're having the problems we are. But Simon just made an important point. And the way they are placing the JSS product across the country, somebody can be taken from Boko and placed in a school in Kumasi, as a day student. Yeah. Now, beginning of the system, they even said the second cycle institution didn't want to get involved with the private hostels. Yeah. So they were living in unregulated. In this country, that's what we call unregulated and unsupervised hostels. And no wonder some of them resulted to social vices, which was all over the media. Because any child under 16 is supposed to be under strict supervision of the parents. So if he places the child away from the parents and they are not under control of the school authorities, and the school authorities are saying they don't have control of a private hostel, then what are you expecting them to do? And let me just touch on the private schools. I read the majority leader, Honorable that it is unconstitutional to extend free senior high school to private schools. When I read, I said, where? Which law? Which constitution? Which aspect of constitution? That's why we're telling them, if they want free senior high school, they should have enacted a law to govern it. There's not any policy. All what they are doing is from the 92 Constitution.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the 92 Constitution, there's not any distinction. They say free. How we provide it. And that's why General said thinking outside the box. Because the private schools are development partners as far as the provision of education is concerned.
Yes.
We have the missionaries building school, which we have touched on it. We have other development agencies coming out into communities providing. So all what John Mama is saying, give me the chance and I will assess these private schools, see those who can really provide quality education and absorb the cost. It is not new. It's just innovative thinking. In Sierra Leone, after their civil war, made a provision that all what you need to do is to put up a building, a private building, and the government will take over.
Good.
Pay the fee, they even pay the teachers their salaries and provide educational equipment for you to run it. And because of that, they are able to turn their educational system around. So this idea of bringing private schools on board is through the consultative work we held with proprietors of private schools.
Exactly.
And they gave us ideas how it will be implemented.
Yep.
We are thinking outside the box, and when we are given the chance, it will be easy because the stakeholders were part of this policy formulation. So we are in. Ghanaians just need to trust us and give us the chance. Yes, as President Johan Mama said, he's not perfect. He made certain mistakes, and when he comes back, we are going to correct it. And this time around, we'll listen to Ghanaians and put their aspiration and wishes into action to take Ghana to the promised land. Thank you, Mike.
Excellent, Alhaji Alhassan. Simon, there is one aspect of our promises under education that I want us to also look at, because it's also one of the that aspect of our promises under education that stand out for me, which is the free TVET. Because what this seeks to do is to sort of expand the number of students, or students who obviously have the knack for technical education, technical and vocational education, and it sort of gives them that kind of that kind of encouragement to go on and achieve their aspirations.
Exactly.
And for me, I think that what the People's Manifesto has done is give them that opportunity to go for it.
Exactly.
So can you throw some more light on that for viewers to understand how we are going to implement that? That's
fine. Thank you very much. Before I even answer that, what I want to pass a bit of a comment on what Alhaji just said. You see, I attended a day secondary school, Trinidad Manfo Secondary School, in the Brong-Ahafo region. Okay. Right in the middle of town. Those who attended boarding school did not perform any better than us. It was a day school. The beauty of it is I was also able to be helpful to my parents whilst I was getting my education for the weekends. And so over the weekends, if there was anything to do in whatever, I was there to help. That is the idea of having community day secondary schools. And also the cost is a bit lower because if you look at the government budget spending on education, the chunk of it is in the boarding part, where you provide accommodation, you provide feeding and all of that. Once you take that out, you are able to invest the money to improve quality. I mean, before John Mahama came into office, textbooks, students were sharing 4 students to 1 textbook. It's a fact. They cannot deny it. Of course, Before John Mahama left office, every student had textbooks, because the money that is there can be invested to improve the quality of education. And so, day secondary schools are the best. Sunyani Secondary School, where I did my 6th form education, when it was first built, it was in the bush. I remember when I was attending Trinidad Manfo at the time, we had what we used to call, I don't know Ghana, it's a bone shaker. That wooden, it used to come around to the various communities where the students are and pick them and bring them to school. And pick us and take us back home when we finish school. And so the issue is that in the UK where we are, most of the second cycle institutions are day schools. Like Alhaji has said, colleges and all of that. And so it's a fantastic idea. It will improve quality. It has all its benefits. And I think Ghanaians already understand it, especially when Akufo-Addo has lied to them. But on TVET, the specific thing you asked me to answer. TVET, people in our country, we have a problem of not developing because we don't have the middle level manpower and skills that we need. Absolutely. The whole idea of the JSS and SS system was to encourage people to go into technical education.
Yes.
I attended a secondary technical institution, and we did woodwork.
Woodwork, yeah.
We did metal work.
Yeah.
And we did all kinds of things. Today, as I sit here, I can still tell you different types of wood
and bricks,
and different types of metals, and different types of
You
bricks.
should be able to build for us.
You understand? and unfortunately, we have turned all our schools into grammar schools.
Yeah.
What TVET seeks to do is to encourage people to go into TVET, because unfortunately in our country, if you are very good, academically brilliant, then you are either supposed to become a doctor, an accountant,
lawyer,
an engineer, or a lawyer. And we create the impression that you only become a mason, a carpenter, or whatever if you are not clued up enough. That is a lie. Because if we can trust people like that to build our houses, if we can trust them to do all the furniture for us, why do we think they are not clever enough to do great things? So we want to attract people to go in there. So what government is saying that if you are going into TVET, it's completely free. Completely free for you. Also, as a form of incentive, government will recruit more instructors to be teaching the kids doing these things. Government is going to give them easier loans. Government has promised to give them car loans. Government has promised to make sure that they are provided with Wi-Fi. I say government, so our party, the manifesto, our party, NDC in government, NDC in government, our People's Manifesto has promised all these things just to encourage people. And what we've promised again is that all the technical institutions that were in the various regions. But you see, the NDC is peerless. I just love my NDC because you see that at every stage there is something that is building on what has already been started. And I feel so elated. I feel so proud to be part of the party because see, Michael, we had technical institutes. Then Rawlings, and I'm talking Rawlings. Okay, then Rawlings started the whole idea of forming polytechnics. So most of the technical institutes were converted into polytechnics. Sunyani Polytechnic Sunyani Technical Institute was converted into Sunyani Polytechnic. And most of the places, I know of Wa and all of that, and Bolga and all of that. So it means that most of the regions do not have technical institutes again. In our People's Manifesto, John Mahama and the NDC has pledged that where there are no technical institutes, such will be built in the various regions and districts. So number one, making sure that it becomes attractive by providing financial incentive to people who are teaching these courses, and also making sure that we give them loans so they can buy cars and just to encourage them to come and do that, so that everybody is not rushing to go and teach English and maths, and not because they're not important, but I'm saying that we have enough people doing that already. We need people to go into the areas that are not receiving enough people going in there. So that's what government has promised to do: build more technical institutes, make sure that. One beautiful thing I nearly forgot. If you acquired all these skills and you completed your course and you wanted to go private, there's something that is called a fund that is set aside, Skills Development Fund, SDF, that's what I call it, SDF. SDF will give you capital to go and set up. And when you set up, say I've gone to do, what do you call it? Those who fix cars, mechanics, at a TVET. And I come out and I want to open my own shop. Government is saying that the NDC, the People's Manifesto, is saying that we will provide you with seed money to set up yourself. And when you've set up yourself and you're doing your business, like we have garages set up here and all of that, you are not going to pay. There will be a lot of tax reliefs for you.
I love this.
So that because we know that when businesses start, there's always an initial capital outlay.
Difficult.
Number one, government is providing loans. Remember I told you about giving people loans to set up. And when you have set up, in the first 3 years, you don't pay tax.
You know why I'm very, very excited about this, Simon?
Very interesting.
It's because if you look at even Singapore, at the time of independence and beyond, they were at par with us in terms of socio-economic development. Today, because they lay a lot of emphasis on
vocational and
vocational education. That is why now they are straight ahead of us, years ahead.
Not only
right now in terms of industrialization.
Malaysia, Japan,
yes.
And
the rest of
what we call the Eastern
So what we need to do is to go back to their approach, make sure that we encourage, make technical and vocational training very attractive. It shouldn't be people getting lower grace,
people,
you
at
know.
all.
go in there.
So if we make it attractive and there's prospect, of course we need to be realistic.
Yeah.
Most of the unemployed graduate, it has to do with the courses that they have learned at the
Yeah,
university.
exactly.
So people will now be encouraging their girls to go and
into
learn
areas, yeah.
areas that they can learn a trade. So in that case, they don't necessarily need to rely on the public sector
Exactly,
for jobs.
exactly.
So that is the thinking outside the box
box.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, General Mosquito talked about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mr. Mike, very quickly, just to add as
Yeah.
well, Alaji, is that, you know, the beauty of this program is that we have also introduced what I call NAP, National Apprenticeship Program.
Yes.
Tribal teachers.
Yes.
Yes, exactly.
With the NAP, we have these people who have gone to learn how to fix cars, how to build houses and all of that, and yet we have not given them any certification to show that, they
yeah.
are qualified people who can be engaged and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Government is the NDC under the People's Manifesto, leadership of John Mahama, and I'm saying government because we are coming to government in 2021.
We are coming. We are sure.
By the
We are
grace of
there
God,
already.
we know Ghanaians
We just
will buy into what we're telling them because these are things that address their problems. And so at the end of the day, what's going to happen is that you'll be given certificates to be able to show to people that have acquired this training, I'm qualified. And so that when you are engaging somebody, you can ask them, okay, you say you are a plumber, you know this country. There are a lot of courses for everything. If your plumber is turning up in your house in this country, you want to see whether they are under a certified. Certified.
Yeah.
So you can ask them and say, oh, if you say you've got this training, are you certified? Can I see your certificate? So they show you the certificate. Government is saying that I will pay for the cost of these apprenticeship programs. So you don't need to worry about going to gather the money, look for the money to go into apprenticeship, because you see people doing KIA in Accra and other places, and you ask them, I am trying to gather money so that I can go and pay to learn a trade.
Exactly.
Government is saying that you don't need to go and do KIA or whatever jobs, menial jobs to do that. We already pay for that. We'll pay to the master craftsman and everything. When you are finished and you want to set up, we'll support you to set up. I mean, Michael, I live in this country, you live in this country. If you go to building sites, site managers on construction site, very attractive job. People are earning over 50,000
Exactly.
in our country,
Yeah.
Ghana.
Plumbers.
Because we have not laid emphasis on these things.
Yeah.
People think that, oh, why will I go and do
plumbing work?
construction
Yeah.
or plumbing work? In this country, a plumber earns even higher than most people.
Call
who
out
are
is
into-
£90. Call them.
Just call out
Just
fee.
call them. Call out fee.
Call out fee.
And then there was this story that a university professor left her lecturing room.
Yeah.
To study to become a plumber.
There you
Because
go.
he called a plumber and the amount of money he was
plumber
charging.
is
The man said,
Exactly.
let me go. It's about money.
Exactly.
So this is what we need to
Encourage our
inculcate
people.
in the
Exactly.
youth. And then comparing it to their NAPCO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the NAPCO is just waste of time. They are not preparing the graduates
For
or
anything.
for anything.
It's just not
Yes.
sustainable.
So the approach we are going to use for the apprenticeship
Yeah.
is in line with what we have in UK here.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You go, you pay for the employer or the company,
Yeah.
give them tax holidays,
Yeah.
and they will train this apprentice.
Yeah.
They acquire skills with the hope that they will be retained at the end of their program. Even if they are not retained, they can move on to another
Of
job
course, of
or set up their own
Exactly.
business. In that case, it is sustainable and it can make them more independent.
Yeah.
But we have a situation in Ghana, you just take graduates, do a fanfare that you have offered them jobs, which is not sustainable.
Exactly.
So they claim they are creating jobs, but I don't think that system is sustainable.
just-
and we are going to review
That
it.
money that they
Ehen.
use to do that, Alaji, honestly,
Exactly.
to invest into something.
So the good thing about this manifesto, we in the UK and Ireland chapter, you know, we are not just going to allow it to go. This is just a proposal. When we are back in government, inshallah, how to put them into action, they will still collate views. Even the Professor Dansubafo said he's going to engage to make sure that we put it into action.
Exactly.
So we as stakeholders will also put our experiences in UK here to make sure that they are really implemented to the benefit of all
But
Ghanaians.
Alaji, let me add something
Yeah.
quickly. You know, it's not just about making sure that we attract our brilliant young people to go into acquiring skills so they can build the country and do the things and give our people prosperity. It is also that if we are, they'll be giving stipends. Money, pocket money, so that when they get up in the morning, it's not like, oh, I don't have money to pay for transportation to go to where I am learning my trade, or to go to a TV center or a NAP, what do you call it, a NAP center, National Apprenticeship Center.
Yes.
They are actually giving stipends. So it is taking care of everything.
Yes.
Alaji, I called a plumber, like you rightly said, and he said, even before I touch anything, is £100.
£100,
and
yeah.
whether I am able to
do it or not, you pay the £100.
£100 before I even touch anything in your house. I mean, Alaji, if we get to that point in our country, it will be very fantastic. And
yeah.
we see things being built.
Yeah.
We have neglected this for a long time, and that is why our country is not. We've nearly killed all the technical institutions in our country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're saying that it is about time. I had a friend, and he lives in the UK. He learned how to fix cars, mechanic.
Yeah.
He works in a bus garage as I speak to you, and the guy is earning nearly £3,000
Yeah,
in this country.
Yeah.
When he was in Ghana, he tells me, Simon, I go and do work for people, and I don't even earn up to 500 Ghana cedis. More so, nobody even respects me. Go and call me that fita. But here, you dare not. I think it's very fantastic. We're trying to raise it to that
Exactly.
level and build
Okay,
our
thank you, Mike.
Thank you very much, Simon, for throwing a bit more light on TVET, as promised within the People's Manifesto. There's another aspect of the People's Manifesto that we would want to discuss right now as well, which for me is one of the key issues that have stood out for me as well, which has to do with teacher training.
Good.
Teacher training. Now, you and I, the three of us, are in this studio and are able to do what we're doing because of education, and it is because of a teacher that sacrificed their time, even though some of them may make the point that they are not well remunerated or that kind of thing, have imparted knowledge to us. Now, some way, somehow, government upon government have found a way of giving teachers the right incentives. And for me, the People's Manifesto, this aspect of sort of incentivizing teachers in terms of from teacher training right down to for them qualifying and becoming full-time teachers, for me, they stand out for me. That stands out, and that has to do with restoring the automatic employment of newly trained teachers.
Exactly.
It is key. And then, Alhaji Alhassan, I want you to throw some light on that in terms of restoring the automatic employment of newly trained teachers and tie that into the licential exams.
Yeah.
Because it was one raging debate between the NDC and MPP during the previous electioneering campaign in the lead up to the 2016 elections.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, thank you for that. Teaching, like every other vocation or profession, sometimes you can't learn it within the classroom. I'll give examples. As you rightly pointed out, over the years, various governments have tried to improve the quality of teaching in our schools. We are the pace setters. Yes. We increase the set A, dozo, or middle set to a diploma. You know, all the training colleges were upgraded to diploma awarding institutions.
Because quality of training
the
very
whole
key.
idea was to enhance their teaching.
Yeah.
Now, if you take this country, UK, I mean, there are two rules to which one can become a teacher. Either you go for your bachelor education, do it 3 or 4 years, or if you have any other degree, you do the postgraduate teaching qualification.
Yes.
Now, if you get that qualification, you are not asked in this country to go and write 3-hour exams to qualify as a teacher. Because any smart guy can study and go and write that exams and will not necessarily be the type of teacher to teach.
Yes.
So what they do in this country, after acquiring the academic qualification as a teacher, you'll be placed in a school setting under the mentorship of an experienced teacher, and you teach for good 1 year. After the 1 year, your supervisor or your mentor will now write a recommendation, because that time you would have been fully assessed as somebody who is fit or not fit to become a teacher.
Sure.
And then you'll be given the certificate of what? The qualifying teacher status. Before you can become a teacher. Not only teaching, even my profession, social work, that's what they do. After your qualification, you'll be placed in the job to learn, and your mentor will recommend you.
Alaji, let me quickly interrupt.
Okay, come on. Yeah.
Just to add to that, I went to, like I said at the beginning, I went to Jahan, and that was in 1996.
Yeah.
Okay, I did teaching practice at Wapani.
Okay.
Anybody listening to us can know where I'm talking about if they're from Wa. I did my teaching practice in Wapani, where you actually go and practice the theory that you taught.
Exactly.
And so you being assessed as a teacher, as a qualified teacher, is integrated into the teaching
course.
It is not a separate thing on this one.
Exactly.
So if I'm undertaking a course to become a teacher,
and
I'm learning all the theory and classroom work and all of that, and I'm learning everything. When I finish, what is the purpose of the exam that I'm going to have? It doesn't make sense. Alaji.
It doesn't make sense because my only worry is that it's Ghana we are all talking about. Will that system be free and fair?
It's not. It doesn't.
Exactly. And as you rightly pointed out, those we used to have what we call teacher trainees. They come to teach and they will be wearing their uniform. Teaching practice. So it's already integrated into the process. So what needs to happen if they finish and they pass all those placement they have done? I think, Mike, they should be ready to be employed directly. So this idea of mandatory national service for teacher trainees, for me, is another way of deferring the employment because there's no money in the system.
That's true.
Meanwhile, some of these schools are there without teachers.
Exactly.
We are not doing anything good to our country and the children.
Exactly.
So I mean, it doesn't make sense. And I mean, I don't know. And recently, when I flagged that up, one MPP guy told me that that it was a Commonwealth that agreed that there should be licensing exam for all teachers. So I asked him which Commonwealth are you talking? Is it Queen Elizabeth Commonwealth or another Commonwealth?
No such thing.
Because I'm in UK and that's the mother of Commonwealth. And then we don't have things like that. So sometimes you don't even know where they are coming out with this idea. For all you know, maybe there's some stakeholders there who wants to milk the system. And then they will fail and then put their people there. And then so I can go and pass my exams, but at the end of the day, you put me in the classroom and I will not be a very effective teacher. So I heard they have postponed it again for the second time. I'm sure they will suspend it. So it's not coming. Okay, then it's copy. Okay, I didn't know.
So why? I didn't know.
Exactly.
It doesn't make
sense. It doesn't make sense. And it's not free.
Tell them
you can employ them.
Use all the money to give to.
Okay, all teacher trainees. This you can't trust Nana. I mean, what you need to do is to vote JM. Because they are suspended, because Nana will do anything to cling on to power. Exactly. So he is suspending all these things like Ajapa. When they, in a highly unlikely event of them winning, they will bring all these things back. So your best bet is just to vote for Joe Mama massively and NDC parliamentary candidates, and this thing will be thrown to the dustbin for good.
Yeah, and Mike, quickly, he said, we said, well, they come up with the excuse that, we said we're going to do licensure for teachers. Yes, it's true, we're going to do it, but we're not going to give them exam to write.
No.
We're going to be part of, because we're licensing them so that when they go out there, they have to show that I am a licensed. You know, in this country, every profession is licensed. So that you are a social worker, you are licensed. Mike, you work with the if I ask you for your, is it RSA? Your RSA number, you should be able to tell me
it's simple.
your RSA
regulating
number.
Doesn't mean that you are putting artificial.
Exactly. We're not going to tell them that they should go and write a separate.
And let me just add, like I said, we have what we call career development.
Of course.
Even if you are on the course now, and in my profession, every 3 years you are supposed to renew the license, and you need to demonstrate during that year what courses have you taken. Even if it's in-house training, you have to demonstrate it for your team. So that's the only way we can enhance teaching. But 1 off or 3 hours exams to assess one ability to teach. I don't know. It's only Nana. I mean, okay. So it's fully suspended. Okay, that's fine. Indefinite.
It means our manifesto is truly people's manifesto. It's
exactly. They are panicking. You can see it in their body language. That recently, when was that? Nana said, that I'm truthful, vote for me. Who said you are lying? Guilty conscience. Who said he can't trust himself? And when I said about what's wrong with our president, nobody said you are lying. But I just said, okay, quick reminder, we are still waiting for our 98 hospitals within 1 year. And then the sky trains, we are still waiting for them. And we are in September. They were supposed to start.
But you know what? The naysayers are also saying that But MPP, they are already implementing free TVET.
Yeah.
How do we differentiate between what they claim they are implementing as free TVET,
and ours,
and ours?
You see, what they are saying is completely out of order, because we first of all upgraded the polytechnic to technical universities.
Exactly.
Yes. So what GM is saying is going to create model technical and vocational institutions in every district, and they will be properly equipped at par with the infrastructure, more skill-based kind of training. Because some of these technical schools or vocational schools, how many of them are there? They are not there. At the moment, what we have is if the SS resource, JSS is out, those who poor grades, they will be dumped there. That is not what we are talking about. Like Simon said earlier on, we are going to make it more attractive. So somebody with 9-1s, it's 9-1s, they keep on changing the grading system, will be attracted to go into vocational school. And so there will be incentives to the teachers, to our hair, and then the technical universities would have produced enough teachers. And you see, it's holistic approach to development. How can you industrialize without the technical men? And no wonder they are one district, one factory is a fiasco. Because you don't have the technical men. You don't have the capacity. And you were singing, one district, one factory. We are where we are.
I asked one of them yesterday, you should show me, just even, I was on a radio program this morning, and I asked him, mention 5 factories that Akufo-Addo has built from scratch to
nothing.
The guy was struggling.
Nothing. We'll come to industrialization. It's just too much. It's just too much. I think never again should we allow any political party to get away with this kind of life.
No.
Because if we make any mistake, Ghana is doomed.
It's almost like getting away with murder.
Exactly.
That's exactly what it is.
I mean, look at the 98 hospital. We'll discuss health next time. Yes, I mean, he said 1 year.
Some people are commissioning programs by now. JM was commissioning programs.
And you are now cutting salt all over.
When you are in opposition.
All over. It's sad. It's sad.
You see, there are other aspects of teacher motivation which contained in the People's Manifesto that I think that people, young people who want to become teachers, including those already in training, and an existing teacher should be very excited about. Let me just point them out right now. I would outline a few, which is that NDC in government voted for on coming December the 7th and sworn into office on 7th January 2021 would open special credit lines to facilitate access to loans. Fantastic.
Exactly.
Provide teachers with free tablets to facilitate teaching and learning.
And we have done it before. It's not something that, I mean, all ours is evidence-based. We are not just talking, all these things are before. So if we are saying we are going to do it, Ghana shouldn't doubt.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Billions. John Mahama did it. So we'll leave the for that to take off. Why not? What do you call it? Internet centers in universities. Very fantastic.
Yes. And the others are restore automatic employment of newly trained teachers to improve the teacher-student ratio, which we spoke about a short while ago, and collaborate with teacher unions to implement a special regime, allowing teachers to own vehicles under affordable terms.
And that's what I was saying.
Excellent.
That's what I just said.
Excellent.
You have car loans.
This is thinking outside the box. It's very simple.
To make it attractive.
Mark,
you know what excites me about this, our People's Manifesto? It's lifelong learning. You know, we used to have non-formal education.
Exactly.
Where even market
there's lifelong learning. It's still there.
Even the elderly. So that our market women can know how to write
exactly.
know how to put 50 Ghana, somebody owes me and all of that.
Absolutely.
So market women, all other carpenters, masons will have lifelong learning.
And we have a provision for special education. People who are disabled, they will be supported. And here in this country, even in the mainstream school, if a child is identified to be struggling, they get extra support. And that is what we are going to do. A case. Every child matters in this. They cannot be left behind. So it's a very holistic educational policy. All what we need from Ghanaians to vote and vote wisely come December 7th. And we'll put everything into action.
Like, just to add to what you're saying, you know that, what do you call it? Under our manifesto, Jobs, Prosperity and More, our party, the NDC, covenants that They will work with Pediatric Society of Ghana.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, exactly.
Disabled
Yeah,
kids.
yeah.
They work with them to identify disabled kids right from the beginning. You know, in this country, you see kids who cannot hear. They are hearing impaired.
Right.
They've got this hearing aid.
Exactly.
You point them out early, and then you can build upon them,
support
and give
them.
skills.
Exactly.
Where we throw every kid who cannot speak
in the
just
same
say,
class, and you expect them to compete with.
I was watching Joy TV. I watch on YouTube when the news is done. And then I watch on YouTube, and there was this parent whose child cannot talk, and the child was 8 years old, and the mom was crying. That even just small assistance for the child to go to hospital so they can diagnose what is actually wrong with the child. They can't even get the money to do it. Under this manifesto, such children will be identified very early in life and be given the support that they need and placed in the right education institutions that they need to be placed into.
Okay, thank you, Simon.
Let me just ask us to sort of discuss further this issue about underprivileged school children, because Simon touched a bit on that when it comes to, because one of the key promises that the incoming NDC government will be implementing is expand and refurbish educational facilities to make them fit for 21st century education. Now, what do you think that means? Because I think that this is a way of dealing with some of the issues that disabled children, school children tend to have, and even across board as well. Because if you look at different aspects of the People's Manifesto, the NDC is going to somehow refurbish a lot of state buildings in terms of access by disabled people, and I think it is fantastic. So can we discuss that?
Yeah, as I said earlier on, I mean, thank God we have people working in different disciplines. What they do in this country, we will sell the idea to GM. In every local government area, they identify some particular schools where they will provide the infrastructure and facilities for children with disabled where they think they have high number of disabled children, a particular school will be dedicated just for disabled. But some mainstream school can cope with some few number of disabled children. And that is the approach we should be recommending, suggesting to the government. As I said, this is a proposal. Definitely, when we take over, there will be white papers on how we are going to operationalize it. And then there will be legislation to make it legal. And these are where some of the expertise will come to bear on the implementation of the policies. In terms of helping, and of course, the disabled children need extra support in terms of even going to school. Parents will need to be supported. We already have a system, LEAP, where we identify people that need that support, and then they'll be given incentives to help. I think this is the way. It's going to be a very holistic, a multidisciplinary approach to how some of these things will be implemented.
Let me add to that, Mike. Under the program for children with special needs, disabled children, government, the NDC promises that if you have a disabled child and that child is diagnosed and identified as a disabled child, what we'll do is that the parent, if it's a working parent, the parent will be given financial support to place the child in the right educational institution, so that you can go to work. So that child does not take you away from your work. Does not become a burden on you, the parent. You are relieved. You can go to work knowing very well that your child is being taken care of. All the facilities and everything that you need is being provided.
And that is what
at the cost of government.
We call child in need. In this country, the Children Act of 1989, every registered disabled child is automatically child in need. Because they need some support from the state. And if you take the Children Act of 1989, we have the Ghana version, which is 98. It's just a carbon copy of here. So all these things, and that 98 was enacted under who? President Rowley. So we have the policies.
It's just fantastic.
It's fantastic. We just need the manpower and the policy framework.
I mean, the disabled
and legal framework to push some of these things into action. So it's not like just going around doing pay-as-you-go kind of
No, no,
policy
no, no,
making.
no.
Ours was properly thought through,
Exactly.
fully baked policy,
Yeah.
and evidence-based,
Exactly.
unlike the half-baked
Yes. People's
utopian
Manifesto.
approach to
solving
President
social
Akufo-Addo's approach.
you know.
And no wonder now he's struggling. So they are moving from manifesto promises to strategic thinking. Maybe very soon they'll say they are dreaming. I think some of them are now dreaming. I mean, clearly they have lost the election. I'll be surprised. I'll be surprised.
Yes, we'll
talk about it.
Come
We'll
to
talk
that
about
shortly.
it. Yeah.
But before that, I think we can still under this is under secondary education. Now, what the manifesto says here is that the next NDC government will revisit and scale up our intervention of providing free sanitary towels to needy and vulnerable females with the aim of keeping all girls in school throughout the academic calendar as we improve on their health and general well-being.
Wow.
For instance, I know that this is one
Policy
issue
for-
that
yeah.
one policy
Yeah,
that
when government.
the former Mahama government
And Nana Jane
implemented under Professor Nana Jane, and she has spoken widely on this particular issue on her recent campaign trail.
Yeah.
Now, can we just see how beneficial?
Yeah.
Let's talk about how beneficial this can be
Yeah,
for at least the girl child
Yeah.
in school.
Look, that thing was informed by a research carried out by UNICEF.
You see?
It didn't just come
That's
from
what I-
nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That in Africa, things that we have taken for granted here, you can go to the supermarket and buy it for your kid. It's not common in Africa.
Yeah.
And there's some the girls in deprived communities are losing
Lose
school
one week of
week
school.
because
Yeah.
of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they tie it up with other developmental aid so that those who can afford will be supported. But they made big noise about it. So when we come, we are going to make sure that it will be available to those who really need it. Of course, the well-to-do in society can help by buying it to their for their daughters. But those who can afford, I don't see why a girl should lose education just because of her gender. I will say that is why. So if we talk about gender equality or equality issue, it's not just appointing Baumil from North as a vice and go back and be sleeping that you are pro. Yeah, we need to cut across. So you started from the scratch so that girls at that level will have equal opportunity like their males counterparts when it comes to school attendance. Because, you know, they use rat in the north there.
Yes.
Which sometimes is not manageable.
It's not sanitary enough.
It's not sanitary enough. So some of them, they are better off just remaining at home without even coming to school. So it's a fantastic idea. We are going to revisit it, reintroduce it, make it more accessible and applicable across the board to all those who need it. And thank God some of these things, there are international donor agencies that are ready to fund it because they think it's part of human development. So Mike, thank you for that. It's something that we need to push. And with Nana Jane as the Flagstaff House, or are we going to? No, we are changing it back to Flagstaff House.
Oh, we're changing it to
Okay,
Flagstaff.
okay.
Oh,
So let's forget, start calling it
yeah,
Flagstaff
of
House.
course, it's
Our policies will be gender sensitive across the board.
Yeah.
Thank
Mike,
you.
Let me just add quickly to that as
Yeah,
well. You
yes.
know, like Alaji rightly said, this is something that was informed by the UN, UNICEF.
UNICEF, yeah.
You understand? It's not an NDC thing. Just recently, I was watching, and you know, this is our politics. So I make sure every day I watch the news. It was somewhere in the north. They interviewed. It was on Joy TV. They interviewed a girl, and she said, when it is that time of the month for her, she doesn't go to school at all.
Yeah.
And you look at the pain and the struggle she
Fragile,
goes
yes,
through. And ask yourself, do our girl children, if you had a daughter, you'll understand that the daughter does not have to go through this.
Yeah.
They mocked us. They call it devil pad or something.
Yeah.
Do you know that Akufo-Addo, under his administration today, is seeking to bring sanitary pads.
Again.
Oh yeah.
So it's not copy. The copy is okay.
When I was laughing, I said, it's not devil pad again.
I think Ghanaians are deciding
Manifesto promises that they started.
So everything they are okay. But you see, the game is over for them.
The game is
over. Ghanaians are not stupid.
To start panicking.
No. We saw him literally begging, crying. Try me. We have tried him. It's a fiasco. So you want us to try you again?
At the end of the day, what I'm saying is that it is very important that every resources that's available in the country is made available to ensure that our girl children get the quality just as they are born. Exactly.
Well.
It's very important. Especially in rural communities. You might think that I live in Accra, so everything is there. In rural communities,
they don't even have the big struggle. There are no pharmacies there for you to get things like that. But if it is provided free,
in rural communities are feeling already.
So it was just inhuman on their part to mock it that way. Exactly. I didn't understand them. Of course, they are bourgeoisies. They felt they can afford for their daughters.
But we are very
the rest of the I mean, we are out for every ordinary Ghanaian. Social Democrats, which is at core of our policy.
So Simon and Alhaji Alhassan, I want us to move down to tertiary education.
Yes.
Which obviously includes the universities and the universities, most of the universities per se, or the universities. Now, it says here in the People's Manifesto that the next NDC government will repeal the Public Universities Act.
Yes.
Now, we will discuss this in detail at the tail end of all that we are going to discuss under tertiary education. The next point is strengthening the regulatory role of the National Council for Tertiary Education, absorb 50% of fees of tertiary students for the 2021 academic year as an incentive to mitigate the effect of COVID-19 on students and parents. I mean, I just love this.
That one.
Can we talk a lot more about this?
You see, we all know
it is very key
that the COVID affected household incomes, and that's why even in this country, furloughs and incentives were given to families to mitigate the effects of COVID.
Yes,
we massaged our figures, presented it to IMF for $1 billion. The such fund,
the MPP government,
was to help cushion the citizens going through. So I think that policy is very fantastic. Because most families' incomes has been reduced. So if they have wars going to universities, it's going to be difficult for them. So next, John Mahama's government is going to absorb at least 50% of the fees. So it's going to increase morale and release the children to concentrate on what matters if they are on campus to study. So it's fantastic. And they will ask, where are we going to get the money? Where is the $1 billion they collected? It's a grant for them to help. It's still there. They need to account. And I know, and they claim they were appealing for funds. All these things, they are not accounting for it. So it will make sure that we manage the waste in the system, and that will be channeled into the education of our tertiary students.
Simon, can you throw a bit of light on this one as well, please?
I think it's a good one that will cushion people who are going to university for the first time because of COVID-19, like Alhaji rightly said. One other thing is that, you see, the face of education is changing because of COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Most education is happening now virtually. Classrooms have become empty. It means people need laptops.
Yes.
People need internet access. That's all cost that was not there before. Meeting them halfway means that we make it affordable and accessible. For them. It's a very good thing because most kids will drop. I mean, I had somebody send me their fees because school's about to reopen.
It's always like that this time of the year.
Job because of COVID-19. And they are at their wits' end. They cannot afford. And they are already in their third year. They're going to their final year. I mean, Mike, just imagine such a student.
Yeah.
He can't concentrate. No, without that kind of incentive.
And so that is why, as a people-centered approach, we are
Passion,
saying that when the NDC wins, 2021 academic year, half of the fees will be taken care of. The other beauty of it as well is that not just taking half of the fee, we are also saying that we provide laptops, Wi-Fi centers, virtual learning. Most universities today, I was listening to a professor from Lagos, and he was saying that some of their students don't even feel like coming back to campus again.
Exactly.
Because they're beginning to enjoy the virtual
learning. Yeah.
What that means is that we need to improve the virtual infrastructure to make sure that quality is not compromised.
Exactly.
That is what this manifesto seeks to
Yes,
address.
because there are certain areas of the country that may not necessarily have an enhanced, internet access,
exactly,
like other places in the urban areas.
And still on tertiary education, I mean, JM said the newly created regions, without public universities,
they'll build universities.
So we are not only extending pre-tertiary education to the people, but also the tertiary education. And that the good thing is, like here, most of it we still study. You don't need to study or go on campus.
No.
Because like my wife, it was Middlesex, walking distance.
Exactly.
So you can study. Yes. So if you bring it closer, it will even reduce the cost of tertiary education. But the station whereby our time, if you want to go to university, you have to travel to Accra, from Boko to Accra.
Exactly.
It was the one that sent me to Accra. Because there's no way. There wasn't UDS there until Jerry Rawlings with his vision, etc.
Exactly. And they were insulting him when he took his hunger fund money and wanted to send. They were insulting him.
Now, ask them, have they ever set up any public university in Ghana?
None. We have about 4 credits.
4. They have done nothing, and yet they claim they are the academicians, they are the bourgeoisie, they are the elite. It's just frustrating. Never again. We should not allow MPP. They have and I'm sure Nana is going to take them back to the days of bourgeoisie. The aliens compliance. We'll discuss that later under good government. But because the MPP is going to be damaged beyond repairs come December 7th. Because the kind of mess they have caused, Ghanaians will never forgive them.
And isn't it beautiful, Michael, that, I mean, you don't have to, you have brand new university in your region. Almost every region. Look at the employment that comes with it.
Exactly, the multiplier effect.
The lecturers.
People are building hostels.
People are building hostels.
So
people selling food. Internet. Transportation. So when John Mahama says that he's going to throw up 1 million jobs, you can see the vision. You can walk through it and see where he's coming from.
You see, let me take you back. Another thing that is affecting most second cycle institutions is their feeding grants.
Exactly.
And now John Mahama is saying he's going to decentralize it. Exactly. So the head teachers will have control.
Exactly.
Contact food contractors at the local level. Instead of all the time, the money, every time they have to close, postpone school,
reopening
just because the grant is not ready. Again, this is thinking outside the box approach. Because the money is there, why not just giving it to the person implementing
to do their thing?
Every year, this country, every department has their budget. The team manager is the budget holder. This is your money, spend it. At the end of the year, account for it. As simple as that.
Exactly.
We have learned this thing from the English people. They are modernized and we have refused to modernize. This is the time for us to think outside the box if we are to move forward to the promised land.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Alhassan and Simon. Still looking at the NDC People's Manifesto under tertiary education. These are some very key areas that I would want us to touch on as well, which has to do with this. The next NDC government promises to complete the conversion of all polytechnics into technical universities in line with our original version of creating opportunities for professional mobility of practitioners. Excellent. Now, create equal opportunities for females and individuals with special needs. And we touched on this a short while ago when we were talking about special needs children and how the People's Manifesto has actually made provision for them so they can benefit from it. Because at the moment, what we are saying is not good enough in terms of giving them proper access and motivating them to go beyond where they are.
And you know, JM was the first president to appoint a person with disability
Oh, yes.
into cabinet.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah,
role
they
model.
were laughing.
They were laughing.
Remember some chiefs even
exactly.
they cannot have a
So
disabled
that's a
person.
motivation
Yeah.
to people with disabilities
Yeah.
to learn
Honorable
how.
Dana.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Chief
Yes.
So we have
Chief
that.
Justice,
When it
exactly.
comes to equality issues, there's nobody who
No,
can
you are
compare
peerless.
his record to.
And we've done it before.
We have done
Exactly.
it before.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we are taking it to making sure that we equip them, they can
Yeah.
aspire
You know
to
when we
achieve
started the technical
economic
university, they even
well-being
kept the
and make
basics.
positive contribution to society.
Yeah.
So fantastic.
Yeah.
This is the People's Manifesto.
Exactly.
And these are
That's-
some of the
yeah.
things that just give
From the belly
real,
of the people.
real
Yeah.
meaning to the visionary leadership of,
Exactly.
of,
John
of His
Mahama.
Excellency John
President John
himself.
Mahama.
Exactly.
And
I will always call him. Once a president, is
Always
always
a
a
president.
president.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's the American system. We have
Exactly.
presidential system.
Yeah.
Sometimes you call them president and they'll be panicking. As if you know you really have the president. Why should
Why do
you be
you panic?
worried? Why should you panic?
there's somebody-
Now,
one of them
do we
told
have
me-
two
one of
presidents?
them
I
told
say,
me-
look, he's a president.
Exactly.
You can call your president. I can also call
exactly.
him. It doesn't matter. There's
doesn't breach
nothing
any
illegal-
constitution.
Any constitutional provision.
And for me, this is one of the master strokes.
Yeah.
Establish universities in the 6 new regions.
Yes.
Yeah, where they don't. Some of them already are.
Exactly.
Exactly.
6
Yeah.
new regions.
Yes.
Um,
Mike, sorry, but we've done it before.
Yeah,
So if we
yeah,
say we'll do it
exactly.
again,
What is
the
that?
record is there.
Voter
We can
regime
be
is
trusted
there.
to do it.
Run out for regime.
Exactly.
And you see, all
And
what
I
they have
chat- and
started.
I-
You know what
yeah.
they did?
Yeah.
They went to Puntamale. You know the veterinary training
Yeah,
college.
yeah.
Oh, that is going to
Yeah,
become
yeah,
a great
yeah.
university. They are panicking. And they went to Yendi.
Yeah.
That there's going to be UDS campus
Yeah,
in Yendi.
yeah, yeah.
And all this is not even in their manifesto.
Yeah, yeah.
So panic reaction. Pay as you go.
Yeah.
Because they have realized that we are taking
Yeah.
tertiary education to the doorstep of
Yeah.
Ghanaians. They have started springing up.
Yeah.
Just like they came out with their one district, one
Exactly.
factory.
And
This
you know-
time round,
yeah, exactly.
Ghanaians are not going to allow
Yeah.
them.
And-
Because where is the money? They have lied. They are
Exactly.
going to do this and that without proper thinking.
Yeah.
And no wonder 3 years along the line, they have left with 3 months to go.
Exactly.
And they are still
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
coming out with
No,
things that
it's very
doesn't
funny.
make sense.
Yeah.
And Nana will not care because at the end of the day, he will not be seeking re-election.
Exactly.
If
he come and doesn't do anything. I mean, 4 years is not nothing. It's going to
This
be
is
worse.
man
It's
who
going to-
wanted
exactly.
to click on and look
It's
at
going
the
to
mess
become
we
a
are
family,
in now.
family
We'll
affair.
come to that. As a
Exactly.
good government,
Yeah.
they will
But
see.
Alaji, let me quickly add this
Exactly.
to the university thing, Michael. You know the University for Environment and Sustainable Development, the Eastern Region.
Yes. Okay.
We even built one in its own backyard.
But exactly.
Yeah.
We got the money. We did phase 1. They are continuing with the money we got. They have no university to their credit.
No.
And
They
what
know.
saddens my
Not a
heart?
single-
And they want to steal University of Ghana.
Exactly.
That it is.
But when
James
it
Duncan
comes to
who-
when it
Yeah,
comes
you
to
want to
when it
Yeah,
comes to
you
the
know.
Public Universities Act.
So James
I
Duncan
get-
is higher than Ghana. Oh, I
exactly.
think it doesn't make sense
I know,
anyway.
I know. But when it comes to
Me, I attended University of Ghana. I don't want any.
be careful
University
before
of-
they take your certificate away from you.
I'm not going to allow the university to be demoted to anybody.
Any family stuff. You know what saddens my heart is that you know the Navrongo campus of UDS
Yes.
is being that's not even it's being upgraded to a university.
University, yeah.
You know that, don't you?
Yeah.
They've named it under one of Tadem.
Tadem.
Is that not very sad?
Tadem.
This is something you have no hand in. A government builds a university, you come, you do nothing, and all you do.
Start naming it by your and they don't
people.
even do proper consultation with the
Yes,
communities.
yes.
I learned that created a lot
created a
of
problem,
problems in that
because
area. Because I
I
know,
think so.
you know, UDS, that it was IFCAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
tell
you know that
pass
IFCAT
you know how I
exactly.
mean
Yeah,
that?
yeah, no, no,
You
beer guy,
pass
so the Congo Secondary School.
IFCAT before going
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Navasco.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that it's
Exactly.
on the Katsina Nankane people.
It's around
I
my
mean,
area.
we
It's
don't
around my
believe in
area.
tribalism. But if you have an institution there,
Yeah.
we have the likes of Abavana,
Exactly.
Mila,
And then you do this
you know,
petty
very
politics.
distinguished
Petty politics.
personalities from that
Exactly.
area. But because TK, well, he also did his best for that. But because he happens to be
a founding member of your party, you go and take, and then they'll tell you they built a university because they've named it after one of their own.
Exactly.
That's how deceptive they are.
Anyway, some of these things will be reviewed when they need be, and then we'll make sure that it will be named. I mean, I don't even believe build your own university and name them. We have
Nobody,
no problem.
but
with that.
that's what my worry is. Now, why
You know,
is
but
that
you
want
use
to deceive the
existing-
people?
And now we have another Dumbo University in Wai. The Wai
Can you believe
campus,
that?
they change it to
Can you
Dumbo.
believe that?
Well, anyway, very soon we have Akufo-Addo University.
I won't be
Okay.
surprised.
Okay.
Because we just had the Japa, isn't it?
Okay,
So,
Japan,
yeah,
exactly.
so we won't be
Anyway,
surprised. And as I say,
so all these things, as JM said, there will be constitutional review. the process will be restarted,
Yeah.
and some of this thing will put
Will be
with
corrected.
constitutional
Okay.
requirement, because we never thought we are going to
Any
end up with a
government will end
constitutional
up- yeah.
dictator.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. So the
Yeah.
framers of the 92
Did not
constitution
anticipate
thought,
that, yeah.
every
We'll have
president will put
decent
Ghana
people
first.
who will be-
But unfortunately, now that's proven that we need some
tightening
constitutional
up some
knots
more. Yeah.
there, so
Yeah,
that people
of course.
cannot just do
Come
things
and do
and
things
start
anyhow.
changing holidays,
Names, yeah.
they're changing names
Yeah.
left and right.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, the president has the right, even if he decides to declare his birthday as a public holiday, what can we say?
Exactly.
But that is the problem we are having with Nana. So, but next time, we'll make sure that any president will not just have a free, to do whatever they think will advance their interest.
So there are other two
Yeah.
the two aspects under tertiary
Yeah.
education that I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
your take on, Simon and Alhaji Alhassan. The next NDC government will provide free tertiary education for persons with disabilities.
Free. Excellent.
Excellent.
Yes, because already they need extra.
Yeah. And then support tertiary institutions to invest in virtual infrastructure. Can you touch, just elaborate this a bit?
Once again,
Provide free tertiary education
Education.
for persons with disabilities and support tertiary institutions to invest in virtual infrastructure.
Exactly.
This is very key.
That's
Very
what I
key.
was saying.
On the back of COVID,
COVID.
Exactly.
technology has become key,
in tertiary education.
in dissemination.
Yes, as I said earlier on, people with disability are already at disadvantage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because let's be honest, because even if
Even our
family is
building
struggling,
government provision.
is struggling
Exactly,
to
yeah.
even cater for the educational need of an able child,
Yes.
where will they get the money to attend to the disabled?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And most of it are not. Some of the disabled are very intelligent,
Yeah, oh,
but
yeah.
their families don't want to, because they see them as people who can contribute.
Exactly.
But if the government can absorb, provide free
provide all
tertiary
those
education,
things, yeah, then-
of course that will motivate them to
Yeah.
aspire to achieve. And as I said earlier on, the appointment of Dana as a cabinet minister is a moral booster for any person with disability
Exactly.
in Ghana. In terms of the virtual, that's fantastic idea. Technology or IT is now common.
Exactly,
So I don't
yeah.
know why we are still backwards. Though there's COVID, universities in UK here are still running normally. They wrote exams, conducted exams virtually. So we just need to see how we can learn from the experience of other countries to make sure that we can also have virtual education. And then the issue of making our public institutions, especially the universities or tertiary education, more accessible. Because under the Disability Act, public buildings are supposed to have facilities for the disabled, and that is what we are not being implementing over the years. But from what this document is talking about, we are going to make sure that every public institution, there will be provision for the disabled, so that people will not feel discriminated because there are no facilities for them to access tertiary education.
Absolutely.
So fantastic. It's a good
and these are some of the issues that we are going to expand on or elaborate on when we come down to discussing the big push.
Exactly.
The big push.
Yeah.
So in our subsequent sessions, it's something that we're going to look at holistically.
Okay, exactly.
And then we will come to the Public Universities Act.
Look, you see, as I said earlier on, it's unfortunate we ended up with this kind of situation. You know, President Akufo-Addo spent all his life telling Ghanaians he's a champion of women's rights, a champion of rule of law, champion of democracy. But under his watch, the tenets of democracy have been thrown to the dogs. We all know the importance of academic freedom, because the institutions of higher learning all over the world, they have the freedom and independence to criticize, the government of the day.
Yes, you can talk now.
Okay, we have Mansa Musa on the line. He wants to.
Let me finish this. Let me finish. Okay. Okay, Mansa Musa, over to you.
My goal.
Okay, so do we have Mansa Musa on the line?
And one way.
Good evening, Masa Musa.
Mansa Musa.
Right. Let me say this. You guys have surprised me because when I was told about this event, honestly speaking, I thought it was going to be a monolithic, sort of boring event. But honestly speaking, you guys have done it well, or should I say, you are doing it very, very well.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The way you are taking all the subjects one after the other, brilliant, brilliant. Is this a novelty event? Has the NPP UK done it before? You people copying?
No, we are not copying.
We are always the first. We always set the pace.
I don't know what they are doing, but
in everything, they'll copy us very soon.
This is thinking outside the box.
Exactly. That's it.
They can think outside the box
to do that.
You people are too wicked. You are too clever.
Very soon they'll start copying us.
They'll copy. You wait and see. Next week they'll be here. They don't know how to copy.
Well, that is the point. Now it looks as if you guys are the pace setters.
Exactly.
They follow. Anyway, it's good anyway. We are going forward. I want to come to the substantive issue. What brought me here? You've talked extensively about education, and I will take you back to the free SHS system.
Yes.
The manifesto states, that you are going to abolish the dreaded, what do we call it, shift or tracking system.
Okay.
We all know that you guys know what to do and why you are doing it or you want to do it. We know the what and the why, but the how is, especially some neutrals. We the neutrals, that's what worries us. The how of transiting. I mean, the transition from how I put something like I say high percentage boarding to a very lower percentage burn, because we have that culture, big percentage boarding, and to come the transition from there to day student, people will have to be to accept it. If we make it attractive, vehicles, school buses, proper buildings, even sometimes extra hours for people who live in localities that don't have maybe electricity in their villages, for the student to stay more hours. All these things will come, but that will come later. For me, my problem is you people haven't explained how you are going to abolish the double tracking. Because in the end, it will be abolished. Whether it's 7 years as Nana and MPP are saying, or 10 years, it will be abolished. But you guys want to do it quickly. So I was thinking that maybe you would have done yourself a favor if you had inserted some words like temporal structures, even if necessary, to ease the congestion whilst you plan the infrastructure. I mean, the permanent infrastructure base. I mean, I don't know, but it's a bit ambiguous. We don't understand the how. If you can elaborate and at least explain to we the viewers how you guys will get this thing done quicker and better than NPP. That's my question.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Masa Musa. Thank you, and thanks for your kind words as well. As to the how, we are going to deal with that question now. But then viewers should not also forget that before MPP in opposition, when they were promising free SHS, they did not tell Ghanaians, the good people of Ghana, how they were going to, they did not tell us the cost and how they were going to fund it. Now, we are not saying that we are going to do the same, but in the coming weeks or months in the lead up to the election, the party is going to come out with some very key some key information as to how that is going to happen. Now, I'm not going to be able to tell you when exactly that is going to happen, but then also don't forget that, I mean, it is when you go into government that you are able to cost projects within the confines of a budget, which you send to Parliament for approval. So, in as much as
this answers it.
Can I just finish?
If you
okay, Mike,
and you tell us later, that's fine by me. You see, if you have a way of doing it, at least Ghanaians will understand.
Okay,
I have another question.
No, Masa Musa, let me touch on this. President Mahama made it clear that the senior high school will be reviewed. clearly, and it's part of every
The free
social
SHS, yeah.
social intervention program. They should have made provision for the review of the policy in the first place. But because they never thought of reviewing it, that was why when they had review, they interpreted it to mean to cancel. Yes, what will happen come January 7th, 2021, a commission or a committee will be set up to review the process within the shortest possible time. Because we don't, just like our policy, we are not going to use the top-down approach. Yes, the various stakeholders will be consulted, parents, teachers, identifiable groups, and we'll see how quick we can review it. But what I can assure you is that all the abandoned day secondary schools will be fast-tracked, completed, to make sure that we make educational provisions available. Because we are having this double track because of lack of
I can quickly ask another question if you
Musa, before you go, can I have
I'm not going. I wanted to ask
Simon
another
also
question.
wants to throw some light on
Yeah,
Yes,
so
yes.
Mansa Musa,
Yes.
you know, I remember Akufo-Addo was here before the 2016 election. He was asked the cost of free SHS
Yes, by
and
Stephen
DBC,
Saka in that
and he
interview.
failed. He said, how much, what is the budget for it? He couldn't tell anybody. But I'm saying that we have done the analysis, and you need 380 secondary schools. If Akufo-Addo had carried out his 350 secondary schools, which he promised us, there will not be double track at all.
Exactly.
Okay, because that's why he said, publicly said, we're going to build 350. We need 380.
How many? Has he
So that if we have
one?
completed the ones that we started and
And
have
the
done the
other-
350
Okay.
days,
Then
there
wouldn't have
will
all
be
this.
free a double
Gentlemen,
track.
can I come in with another question?
Let me just address you quickly.
Okay.
So we'll
Okay.
complete. Within, and remember our promise to the people of Ghana is that within one academic year, this will be abolished. So all the schools that with this 46, they said they've done 20. Now that's 75. It means that there's still 125 remaining. That will be done within the shortest possible time, say 6 months, because
Yes.
most of them are different stages of completion.
Exactly.
Some of them are 80% complete, 90%,
90%
60%, all of that. So those ones you can be sure that within 3-6 months, most of them will be done. And also, Mansa Musa, we are bringing on board private secondary schools. I tell you, there are over 400 private secondary schools in Ghana.
Sure.
Just like we have.
Sir, I understand that you have already made that point.
Thank you
Can
very
I
much.
quickly ask another question quickly?
Please go
So
on.
that, I want to ask, you see, your manifesto, one of the best, what we call a topic or a program that so far you guys are not shouting too much about it, is the NHS system.
The primary
You know,
health care.
Yeah, yes.
No,
And
Mansa
they
Musa.
say- They say it's free at the point of use, and that's what I think you guys want to bring. So far, you know, apart from all the what we call it, the headline programs, Okada and the rest, that now is making your opponents change their course and everything. Fine, but this NHS system that you want to introduce, so far you guys are not making noise.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mansa Musa. This program, we are going to be taking the topic. So I mean, hopefully our next program will be on health. So today we have dedicated the day just to talk on education.
Oh.
So if you haven't heard anything about,
I don't mean your program alone.
or
I mean,
you a
even in
general comment,
I
exactly,
don't hear you
exactly, yeah,
quite
yeah.
often.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Michael, back to the Public Universities Bill. As I was saying, the importance of academic freedom cannot be overstated because it is true that we can have independent views on public policy, even on scientific development. So academicians have every right to say things within the academia as long as they are not committing any crime. And that is why over the years, the universities in Ghana and across the world have been accorded that independence. If you look at this Public Universities Bill, it's clearly to put the control of universities under the presidency. And that is very, very dangerous.
dangerous.
Let me tell you one thing. The late Professor Adu Bohini, lecture, or I think it has to do with freedom movement, what and what,
Yeah.
in the late 80s, was the thing that engineered the agitation to return Ghana to constitutional rule.
Yeah.
Prof. Abdul-Bohene was able to do that because there was pure
Freedom.
academic freedom. And we have a president, a lawyer, now trying to curtail that academic freedom, to take control of our public universities for whatever reason only God knows.
Yeah.
Thank God we have Professor Nana Jane Ajiman Opoko, who is a former VC of Cape Coast. Here, she has consulted with the university lecturers, and I can tell you the whole association is even against it.
Oh, yes, yes.
But they are still pushing it. Why are you doing it when the stakeholders are against it? The university students are against it. So, like we rightly said, we are going to repeal that law if it is enacted before 7th January. And if it is still in the pipeline, that will be the end of it. It will never come out of the pipeline. So after that bill, he's dead on arrival. Because if it is enacted, it will be repealed. If we come to office and it is still in the process of being enacted, that will be the end of it. So my advice, and I'm appealing to all stakeholders as far as tertiary education, especially the universities, are concerned, if they want our universities to continue to remain as center of excellence with pure or full academic freedom, their best bet is to vote for President John Mahama and NDC parliamentary candidates on 7 December 2020, so that public universities bill will be stopped completely, because I don't think even they have time to push it through. I will be surprised if they continue, because now they have realized that it's one of the unpopular policies and they are likely to stop it, just like they have been copy. Mike, before we end, legal education.
But
let me just
come
touch
to that.
Yeah, let me just touch,
Okay,
touch on that. On
yeah.
you see, 10 yeah. So institutional autonomy, academic freedom, and independence is very, very important in academia, because if academic institutions are not free to do their work, academic will become compromised.
Compromise, exactly.
Research becomes compromised.
Yeah.
It does not engender progress and development in society.
Exactly.
And so there's the need for institutions to be free to conduct research in areas that bring progress to society and all of that.
Yeah.
And if you look in our manifesto, the People's Manifesto, what John Mahama and the NDC has promised in the manifesto is that, number one, if the bill is passed into law, the law will be repealed, and if it is still in progress, it will be stopped then. Apart from that, we are looking to set up what is called a research fund, an independent research fund,
exactly,
where lecturers and researchers can apply and present a research proposal.
Yes, that's the innovative thinking.
Exactly. Be giving money. So when they come lying that way, and I just saw Samson Ladia that you people lie that NDC cancel research allowance, and you are not even stopping this lie when there's evidence that is a complete lie. There's documentary evidence. So we're saying that fund will be made available for lecturers and people in the teaching profession, so that we can go into science research, we can go into all kinds of research, because we know that it is research that informs development and progress.
Absolutely.
It is a no-go area. And I tell you, UTAG issued a statement expressing their disgust and surprise that we have a government in this day and age. In the UK here, you and I know very well that institutions are free. There are a lot of research funds available where you can tap and go and do your research. The last thing, and that's why I think Matthew Opoku Prempeh, the current education minister, is a misfit for that ministry.
Because this is the entire government. You don't have to blame
he is a misfit.
The government
this is
not
somebody
fit for purpose.
Exactly.
So every minister,
this is a minister who is a medical doctor, has been thrown into this thing and is messing up everything. So that's because we don't have so much time. I think we'll move on to the next topic. But yes, we have promised that we'll restore academic independence and all of that, and we'll even create a fund, a research fund, where people can apply to do research for the development of our country.
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much, Simon and Alhaji Alhassan. So we'll come down to legal education. And according to 727 of the People's Manifesto, this is what the next NDC government seeks to do: vigorously reform and expand access to professional legal education, and provide opportunities to all qualified LLB holders by granting accreditation to certified law faculties to undertake the professional law qualification course. B. Review the Legal Profession Act in consultation with stakeholders and establish a council for legal education and training to accredit certified law faculty to run the professional law course subject to the oversight supervision of the council. C. Establish a faculty of law in the northern region to serve the northern sector. Excellent. Now, I will come to Alhaji Alhassan, and then I will take Simon's take on. We will have Simon's take on this as well. But you see, this whole reform of legal education goes back to nearly 8 years when there's been this agitation and national conversation about reforming legal education and how the form that it is in right now. Now, last year there was a little bit of a positive step that the President Nanado government took, but that is woefully inadequate in terms of what reform we need within the legal education in Ghana. Now, Professor Asari, and of course, popularly known as Kokwaza. You see, he's one of those critics of especially the MPP government as to how they have gone about this whole process. Because if you look at the MPP's manifesto, they are the promise that they seek to make to Ghanaians should they be voted into power come 7th December is just a one-liner, which is that they are going to improve upon infrastructure for legal education. Now, it is very clear that at the moment the status quo as it stands is not fit for purpose in terms of legal education in Ghana, where when you complete your LLB, you then have to, everyone from all universities across the length and breadth of the country, wherever you study your LLB or you obtain your LLB, you have to go through the Ghana Law School, Makwala. And it is very clear that, I mean, and this is fraught with so many challenges. There's been some rumors or allegations as to how some people have gone through there through certain underhand dealings and things like that. How some people have just been failed just because of their affiliation to NDC and the rest of it. And and I'll just read out what one key issue that was contained in Professor Asari's take on this. And he says here that I have made it clear in so many instances there is already an infrastructure in place. The thing that is stopping them now, and he's referring to the MPP government, now it's a law promulgated by the General Legal Council that says that only the Ghana School of Law can offer professional legal education. The law faculty can deliver the legal education that they are talking about. And then he also went down to say that I have consistently stated that the General Legal Council has departed from its duty of providing persons with law degrees the opportunity to pursue professional education and is instead restricting them. What a government should be doing is rather encouraging students who have worked hard to obtain their LLB to be able to progress from there to go
their chosen career.
Exactly. But you don't leave the status quo as it is, where just a few that are able to go into the Ghana Law School and then from there to start practicing. I think the system as it is unfair. Alhaji Alhassan, what's your take on it?
I've written extensively on social media on that issue, drawing my experience in the UK here. Okay, unlike Ghana, in UK we have two ways one can become a lawyer: a barrister and a solicitor. Luckily enough, in Ghana, it's only one route.
Yeah.
But this is what General Moscow was referring to. We have refused to think outside the box.
Exactly, yeah.
As early as the late 90s, it was only University of Ghana that was providing LLB program.
Yeah.
Even and the number was few. Because even those days, those who were taken to do LLB, most of them were dropped after the first year based on performance.
Okay.
So it will be left with some small number. So by the time they'll be completing, the Makwala will be enough to absorb them. But now almost all the public
universities are running LLB
and private institutions are running LLB. And we have people getting their LLB from outside Ghana.
Exactly.
So, and we still want all of them to go to the same Makwala. What kind of country are we? I mean, sometimes I can't know. I can't imagine.
If you and I take our LLB to Ghana and we want to go and acquire our professional, or if of course there will be the conversion system where you do the Ghana legal
system. Exactly.
Fine. But then after that, you then have to go to Ghana Law School.
Exactly.
No other option. And it is unfair.
You see, and what pains me is that here, if you have your LLB and you want to go to train as a solicitor, you do the legal practice.
Exactly.
You are guaranteed, provided you can get the means. What is the problem here is after the LPC or the bar vocational, whether you get a placement within a law firm.
Exactly.
That is where, but not the professional state of the training. So when
for a professional state of the training, you don't necessarily have to practice as maybe a solicitor per se or a barrister per se. You can move on to work within maybe a corporate
body,
and
a public legal, exactly, things like that. So the problem we have in Ghana today, the issue has to do with the infrastructure.
Yes.
And people who are already in the legal profession, especially, I may be wrong, trying to prevent others from coming.
No, Alaji, let me come. You're not wrong because
they
are gone. They are gone Chief Justice.
Exactly.
What do you call it? Sophia Akufo. No, she said it. Remember there was an annual bar conference. She said that she will not allow she will not allow mass production.
So what we have,
it's deliberate.
Look, it's only the bar vocation here. You write a test, and even that test is aptitude test online. All what you need to do is to pass it. It's a pass. If you get 40, you are passed. You go. But in Ghana today, the exam to the law school, because there's only one law school, even if you get 90, and the first 100 in front of you gets 100%, then you are not going to get admission.
Exactly.
But how can that be fair? So what NDC is saying, we are going to decentralize, which is common sense. The most popular law university in UK is the University of Law, formerly called College of Law. They have branches across the UK. Manchester, all the big cities. So you don't necessarily need to attend the one. And if you take, and they have accredited other universities to be running the same professional
even outside
the UK. But we have stuck with the Makwala. I mean, we need to think outside the box as far as the legal education is concerned. And I'm glad that we are talking about reviewing the act that only mandates the Ghana Legal Council to be the sole provider of professional education. When we change the law, we then try to extend.
And the National Association of Law Students, they stated that they prefer the NDC alternative.
So the lawyers, you are law students or aspiring to be lawyers, you know your best bet is to vote John Mahama.
That's it.
He's not going to lie to you because this is very simple. Because all the regions have high costs, isn't it? If you decentralize even Makwala, that means those lawyers will create jobs for them. Because here most of the people teaching at the law school, they have their practice that they are running.
So
it's not always making the
so I have your take on it.
Michael,
because
we're
going to run up.
Michael, like both of you have said, it's very it's very surprising that we have all these institutions, we allow them to run LLB courses. So what did we think they were going to go when they said LLB?
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And so people have been failed. I mean, I don't know whether you're aware of the last, legal professional course exam that they did in Ghana to be able to go. It was a massive failure.
Is that
and it's deliberate because and we all know why. So I mean,
factor.
what the NDC is saying under this manifesto is that there will be law faculties across the country
accredited,
across the country, accredited and all of that. And the beauty is that they will all come under the Council for Legal Education in Ghana.
Exactly.
So you are able to monitor whatever
there's
going
no
on.
key regulation.
That's it.
Yes.
That's all you need. Like what you have said is done in the UK. I don't understand.
I don't know. Something I wonder.
Are you surprised? Because they have reserved it for their own. So they look at names and all of that and you fail you or pass you because you don't belong to.
Absolutely.
I mean, their own. Our chief just said, he said publicly that they will not allow it.
I think
they are restricting it. No, they will not allow mass production of lawyers in Ghana. That's what he said.
What is
so I'm saying that,
mass
Michael, and also, if you
people should be allowed to pursue their chosen career.
And also, if you wanted to do any law professional course, you had to. If you were in the northern part of the country, you have to travel all the way to Accra.
Exactly.
And JM is saying that there's a need for us to have one of such in the north, in northern region, so that people from the north don't need to travel all the way from Bolgatanga.
I know
West.
Let me give you a price. Who postponed his law education because he was working with civil service in the north. So he has to ask for transfer. And he was transferred to Accra. Now he's a high court judge.
You understand? So why
look at the so if not because the guy was persevering, he would have given up.
And Alaji, you know what?
This is just common sense.
In most of our people, what they do, they go when they do their LLB, they go to Sierra Leone or Nigeria, and I know that for a fact to go and do their professional.
Because it's easier.
It's not fair. Like you are saying, if you finish and you go back, you go and do postcode. The failure rate used to be very low. As I speak to you today, I know people who have failed postcode.
Of course.
Seriously.
Lots of them.
Not because they are not able to do or they're not deliberate. Because there's no space. Where are they going to put them? And so this is an expansion of legal system. I mean, the number of lawyers, we're in a democracy, the number of lawyers, most of our courts don't even have judges. They don't have lawyers. Most of our rural areas don't have. In fact, I don't understand why we cannot have as many lawyers
we
as
are,
we need
we are in a free society.
And so,
even people want to study law and you think they will be jobs for them, leave them to study their law.
It is,
leave them. That's what they want to do.
Let me say this. Competition brings out the best. If you went to law school and you pass your exam, we deem that you are qualified and good enough. If you go out there, you're losing cases, you're not winning cases. It is on you to improve upon yourself. And also, it gives job to people. I mean, if you become a lawyer, you don't need to be going to court. Law is not just about going to court. People do law, and I know lots of people. I mean, President Kufuor did law. Did he become a practicing lawyer? There are thousands and thousands of lawyers who do law just to be able to appreciate documents and their business. Most lawyers are businessmen. They don't even practice. And like I said, our court systems in Ghana everywhere, there are not enough judges. I know judges who have to do one court. They do more than one court. They do different courts.
No, take the Attorney General Department. Even the special prosecutor, they don't have smaller special prosecutors under them.
Exactly.
And Attorney General Department is the same thing.
Because there are not enough lawyers. And yet we are restricting.
And we are restricted.
How sensible
not
is this?
even talk about government without legal department.
And so
if we have enough lawyers in the system, they can recommend. Look at the line in litigation in Ghana. This country, can you buy a piece of land without using a lawyer?
No, you can't.
It's just common sense. We can.
And that's how we grow. That's how we create prosperity. We create jobs and make the economy grow and all of that. So this is the best for Ghana.
The legal education, we are reforming it. Whether they like it or not, we'll produce mass lawyers in Ghana.
Exactly.
They can't stop it.
No, because
the only thing they can do if they prevent it, they can't prevent. We are taking back the control of the country.
No, but the point is that Alaji, the country needs that. At this point in our democracy, we need lawyers. Legal aid. There's not enough legal aid in our country because there are not enough lawyers.
Exactly.
The vulnerable, the poor who cannot pay. That is one. We need these lawyers so that they can do pro bono for people. Where are the lawyers?
Exactly. And they'll get experience there.
And because they are very few, they are so expensive. People cannot afford them. If they become a lot of them there, their cost will drop and people can afford them. They are saying Ghanaians don't use lawyers. Ghanaians because it's expensive.
It's very expensive.
Make it competitive, make it available, and Ghanaians will use lawyers. And everybody will have, So I think that's a great thing there for.
Thank you very much, Simon. Mr. Simon Aworigo, Communication Officer, UK and Ireland Chapter, NDC UK and Ireland Chapter, and Chapter Chairman Alhaji Alhassan Mbaba. My name is Michael.
Thank you.
Jidula Kudiabo. Here we come to the end of our maiden program or maiden session of an ongoing discussions that we will be having in the next couple of weeks right down to election day on the 7th of December. Now, this will continue, and it will be a fortnight program. So then our next session will be in 2 weeks' time, and I will advise, and I will plead on all viewers, speak to your friends, your neighbors, everyone who has a stake in the development of Ghana to tune in 2 weeks' time, on Sunday 2 weeks' time, and watch us, listen to us, deal with the issues, delve into the People's Manifesto as we bring them to you in your homes, in your cars, and wherever you are. Thank you so very much, and thank you, my
Mike.
My co-panelists.
Thank you, Mike.
And good evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well done. Okay, our music now.
Rabeso yemu, na yebreo, na yebreo, na yebreo, na yebreo, yebrepa, rabeji yenu, rabeso yemu, rabeso yemu. Ejo bodo anana nyumre ina bronco baby baby mi beja mitina mi huse kroma efeba kroma ye nice sekra ye fine mi bisa ye na ye si mahama ne ye waya dio Koshe rigisu koshe kotoka sisi school adai Mama yempini ne wayadi yebezu mahama yebeza yebezu su yebeza mahama enkasa frisa fedie yehu